Money is not just numbers on a page or coins in your pocket. It is energy, power, and a law that governs our lives whether we realize it or not. The law of money reveals the timeless principles behind building wealth, protecting it, and making it work for you instead of against you. This book is not about quick fixes or empty promises. It's about understanding the unbreakable rules that decide who prospers and who struggles. If you want to take control of your financial destiny, master your habits, and unlock the hidden laws of wealth, then this journey will change the way you see money forever. Chapter 1. The invisible force of money. Money is not merely paper, coins, or numbers on a digital screen. It is an invisible force that governs human behavior, shapes societies, and silently dictates the rhythm of our lives. The law of money begins with a simple truth. Money itself is neutral. It is neither good nor evil. Instead, it reflects the consciousness and decisions of those who use it. Imagine fire. It can warm a home or burn it to the ground. Money works in the same way. It amplifies intentions, magnifies values, and transforms hidden desires into visible outcomes. Most people never question their relationship with money. They chase it, fear it, or ignore it, but rarely do they pause to understand it. The law of money teaches that the first step is awareness. If you see money only as survival, you remain trapped in scarcity. If you see money as a tool, you unlock freedom. And if you see money as energy, you step into abundance. Consider the habits of those who accumulate wealth. They are not always the most intelligent or hard-working. Instead, they operate with clarity, discipline, and a deep respect for money's laws. They understand that wealth is not accidental. It is engineered through mindset, strategy, and consistency. Chapter 2. The Psychology of Wealth. If the first law is awareness, the second is psychology. Money does not begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. Your beliefs, emotions, and attitudes toward money determine your level of wealth long before you earn your first paycheck. Studies reveal that lottery winners often lose everything within a decade. Why? Because their psychology did not match their sudden fortune. Without discipline, knowledge, and a healthy relationship with money, wealth slips away like sand through open hands. The same is true for people who fear money. They subconsciously repel opportunities. The psychology of wealth begins with identity. Do you see yourself as worthy of abundance, or do you secretly sabotage yourself with guilt and doubt? The law of money teaches that self-image is destiny. A person who views themselves as poor, even when given resources, will recreate poverty. A person who views themselves as a creator of wealth will eventually manifest prosperity, even after setbacks. Another aspect of psychology is emotional control. Money amplifies emotions. Fear leads to hoarding or reckless selling. Greed leads to impulsive risks. Envy leads to comparison and dissatisfaction. The wealthy train their minds to remain calm under pressure, patient in growth, and strategic in setbacks. To reprogram your psychology of wealth, begin with daily affirmations and habits. Speak abundance instead of scarcity. Surround yourself with financial knowledge. Learn to delay gratification. Wealth is rarely built in a day, but it is always built by consistent psychology. The second law is this: your outer wealth will always reflect your inner wealth. Chapter 3. The Discipline of Money. If psychology is the root, discipline is the trunk of the money tree. Without discipline, even the best strategies collapse. Discipline is not glamorous. It is quiet, repetitive, and often uncomfortable. Yet, it is the foundation of lasting wealth. Consider the discipline of saving. Most people spend first and save later, which means they never save at all. The wealthy reverse this order. They save first and spend what remains. This small act, repeated over years, creates a fortune. Discipline is also seen in budgeting, investing regularly, and resisting the temptation of unnecessary debt. But discipline is not only about restriction, it is also about direction. Every dollar is a worker. If you give it no job, it becomes lazy and disappears. If you assign it wisely, it multiplies. The wealthy discipline their money to work in businesses, investments, and assets that grow over time. There is also the discipline of patience. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, the ability to wait is rare but powerful. Compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, rewards only those who are disciplined enough to wait. The law of money reminds us that impatience is expensive, while discipline is profitable. Discipline is not a punishment, it is freedom. It frees you from anxiety, debt, and chaos. It gives you control over your financial destiny. This is the third law. Wealth is the child of discipline. Chapter 4. The flow of value. Money follows value. It does not follow effort, time, or even intelligence. It follows value creation. The richest individuals are not always the hardest workers. They are the ones who deliver the greatest value to the greatest number of people. A doctor may save lives, an engineer may design bridges, and an entrepreneur may create jobs. Each generates value, but the scale and perception of value differ. The law of money insists that if you want to increase your income, increase the value you provide. Ask yourself daily, how am I solving problems? How am I making life easier, better, or faster for others? Value also flows through innovation. The world rewards creativity that meets needs. Think of technology giants. They solved global problems, communication, transport, information, and money flowed to them as a natural consequence. The mistake most people make is chasing money instead of value. When you chase money, it runs away. When you chase value, money chases you. The flow of value also teaches generosity. Money stagnates when hoarded, but multiplies when circulated. Philanthropy, sharing, and investment circulate money like blood in a body. Hoarded money suffocates, flowing money thrives. And this is the fourth law. Wealth is a reflection of the value you create and circulate. If you want more money, stop asking, where can I get? And start asking, where can I give? Chapter 5. The Law of Multiplication. The final chapter in this section introduces the power of multiplication. Saving creates stability. Discipline creates security. But multiplication creates freedom. Wealth is not about how much you earn, but how well you multiply what you earn. Money multiplies through investments, stocks, real estate, businesses, and ideas. But not every investment is equal. The wealthy understand risk management. They do not gamble blindly. They calculate, diversify, and think long-term. They know that money left idle shrinks with inflation, while money invested grows with time. Multiplication also applies to skills and networks. A person who invests in learning multiplies opportunities. A person who invests in relationships multiplies connections and access. Money is only one form of capital. Knowledge and trust are even greater multipliers. The key principle of multiplication is leverage. Leverage means using tools, systems, or people to achieve more with less. A single person can write a book, but technology multiplies it to millions of readers. A small investment, compounded over decades, multiplies into wealth beyond imagination. The law of money is not about addition, it is about multiplication. Those who understand this stop trading hours for dollars and start creating assets that work for them even while they sleep. This is the fifth law. Wealth belongs to those who master multiplication. Chapter 6. The Law of Perception. Wealth is not only about numbers, it is about how we see the world. Two people can look at the same opportunity. One sees risk, the other sees potential. One retreats, the other advances. This difference is not luck, it is perception. The law of perception teaches us that money responds to the lens through which we view life. Scarcity thinkers see obstacles everywhere. They believe the pie is limited and everyone is competing for a tiny slice. Abundance thinkers, however, see endless possibilities. They believe the pie can always expand. When you adopt an abundance perception, you no longer compete, you create. This law also applies to self-perception. If you see yourself as powerless, money slips away. If you see yourself as capable and resourceful, money finds you. Your bank account is often a mirror of your self-image. Change by how you see yourself, and your results change with it. Chapter 7. The Law of Risk and Reward. Every fortune ever built began with risk. To step into wealth, you must step out of comfort. But risk is not recklessness, it is calculated courage. The law of risk and reward explains that the size of your reward is directly linked to the quality of risks you take. Small risks bring small returns. Safe investments yield predictable but limited results. Massive rewards, however, require bold moves, but moves that are measured, not blind. The wealthy study, prepare, and calculate. They never gamble on chance, and they invest in probabilities. There are two dangers in this law. The first is excessive fear, which leads to paralysis. Fearful people hide their money in places where it cannot grow, losing years of opportunity. The second is blind greed, which leads to reckless risk-taking and eventual loss. Balance lies in informed courage, the willingness to risk, guided by wisdom. Chapter 8. The Law of Time. Time is the silent partner of money. You can lose money and earn it back, but time lost is gone forever. The law of time teaches that wealth creation is not only about how much you earn, but how soon you start. Compounding works only for those who respect time. A small amount invested early grows larger than a massive amount invested late. This is why the wealthy value time more than money. They know money can multiply, but time cannot. The average person trades hours for dollars, exchanging their most precious asset for temporary survival. The wealthy, on the other hand, buy back their time. Chapter 9. The Law of Leverage. Leverage is the secret multiplier of wealth. It means using tools, systems, or people to achieve more with less effort. Without leverage, your wealth is limited to your own strength. With leverage, your potential is limitless. Chapter 10. The Law of Cash Flow. Profit is not wealth if it does not flow. Many businesses collapse not from lack of profit, but from lack of cash flow. The law of cash flow teaches that managing the movement of money is as important as earning it. Cash flow is like oxygen, invisible but essential. If money enters slower than it leaves, financial suffocation occurs. The wealthy track every inflow and outflow. They know exactly where their money comes from and where it goes. Positive cash flow creates options. Negative cash flow creates stress. That is why the wealthy prioritize multiple streams of income. Chapter 11. The Law of Adaptability. The financial world is never static. Economies rise and fall. Markets shift. Industries collapse. Adaptability is the skill that keeps wealth alive. Those who resist change are broken by it. Those who embrace change are enriched by it. Consider the rise of technology. Many businesses that ignored it vanished. Those who adapted, online entrepreneurs, tech investors, innovators, multiplied their fortunes. The wealthy remain students of the future. They ask, what trend is coming? How can I align with it before others do? Adaptability is also psychological. Chapter 12. The Law of Generosity. The final chapter in this section teaches the paradox of giving. Money multiplies when it circulates, and one of the greatest multipliers is generosity. The law of generosity is not about charity alone, It is about flow. When you give, you signal abundance. You declare, there is more where this came from. This mindset attracts more opportunities. Generosity also builds networks of goodwill, loyalty, and trust. Currencies more valuable than gold. The wealthy understand this paradox. They give strategically to causes, to people, to communities. Their giving is not loss, it is investment. They know that the more they pour out, the more flows back. Chapter 13. The Law of Focus. Wealth follows concentration, not distraction. The average person chases many things at once, scattering energy and resources until nothing grows. The wealthy, however, understand the law of focus. What you give consistent attention to multiplies. Focus means saying no to 1,000 distractions so you can say yes to one direction. It means resisting the temptation of shiny objects, new trends, quick profits, sudden ideas that scatter your progress. Wealth is built by planting one seed, watering it daily, and waiting until it bears fruit before planting another. Focus also applies to skills. A person who masters one craft often becomes wealthier than a person who dabbles in 10. Concentration turns ordinary ability into extraordinary value. The wealthy ask, what is the one thing that if I master it will change everything? Then they commit to it relentlessly. The 13th law is this: wealth grows where attention flows. Chapter 14. The Law of Networks. Money does not exist in isolation. It flows through people. Your network is your net worth. The law of networks teaches that relationships are the bridges over which opportunities travel. The wealthy understand that every person is a potential door to new possibilities. They cultivate connections not for manipulation, but for mutual value. They give before they ask, listen before they speak, and serve before they demand. This creates a circle of goodwill that opens doors no money can buy. Networks also multiply knowledge. One trusted conversation can save years of mistakes. One mentor can accelerate your growth faster than 100 books. The wealthy invest time in building authentic communities of peers, partners, and advisors who uplift and challenge them. But this law also warns weak networks drain energy. Surrounding yourself with complainers, doubters, and takers blocks opportunities. The wealthy protect their circles, knowing that energy is contagious. The 14th law is this: your fortune is hidden inside your friendships. Chapter 15. The Law of Value Creation. Money is not earned, it is exchanged. People pay for value, not effort. The law of value creation states that wealth comes to those who solve problems, ease burdens, or fulfill desires better than others. The poor ask, how much can I earn? The wealthy ask, how much value can I create? This shift changes everything. When you focus on serving needs, money naturally follows. Value creation requires innovation. It means asking, how can I make this faster, easier, cheaper, or better? It means improving systems, products, or services in ways that impact lives. The wealthiest individuals in history, entrepreneurs, inventors, creators, were simply problem solvers on a grand scale. The law of value also applies to personal development. The more valuable you become in knowledge, skills, and character, the more doors open. Money flows to people who make themselves indispensable. The 15th law is this: money chases value, never effort alone. Chapter 16. The Law of Emotional Discipline. Wealth is not only an external game, it is an internal battle. The law of emotional discipline teaches that without control over fear, greed, and impatience, money slips away. Fear keeps people from investing. Greed makes them chase unrealistic returns. Impatience makes them quit too early. These three destroy fortunes more than market crashes ever could. The wealthy train emotional mastery. They remain calm when others panic, patient when others rush, disciplined when others indulge. Their stability becomes their strength. They understand that emotions are signals, not instructions. This law also applies to lifestyle. Emotional discipline means resisting impulsive spending, avoiding unnecessary debt, and delaying gratification. Every purchase asks, does this serve my future or just my feelings? The wealthy choose their future. The 16th law is this: mastering money requires first mastering yourself. Chapter 17. The Law of Innovation. Markets evolve, and yesterday's wealth strategies become today's failures. The law of innovation states that wealth flows to those who create the new, not those who cling to the old. Innovation is not limited to technology. It can be new ideas, new systems, or new ways of delivering value. The wealthy ask, what is missing? What can be improved? What is possible that others cannot yet see? History proves this law. The wealthiest figures were innovators, pioneers who challenged old models. From industrial revolutions to digital revolutions, fortune favored the bold minds who dared to reinvent. Innovation also requires courage because the world resists change. Critics mock new ideas, competitors resist them, and fear whispers that it will not work. But the wealthy embrace this risk, knowing that without innovation, progress dies. The 17th law is this: wealth rewards creators, not imitators. Chapter 18. The Law of Legacy. The final chapter in this section reminds us that true wealth is not measured by what you keep, but by what you leave behind. The law of legacy teaches that money is a tool to shape the future, not just to serve the present. Legacy is not only inheritance, it is impact. It is the businesses you build that continue after you, the knowledge you pass on, the lives you touch. The wealthy think beyond decades, they think in generations. This law brings perspective. Wealth without legacy becomes empty. A life spent only accumulating for yourself ends with you. A life spent creating systems, values, and opportunities for others outlives you. Chapter 19. The Law of Adaptability. Wealth is never static. It flows like a river, changing shape with every bend. The law of adaptability teaches that those who cling rigidly to old methods eventually lose their place, while those who adjust thrive in every season. Markets change, industries evolve, and economies rise and fall. The wealthy understand that success yesterday does not guarantee success tomorrow. They embrace change not as a threat, but as an ally. Adaptability means being willing to learn new skills, adopt new tools, and shift strategies without fear. This law also applies to mindset. Life will present crises, job loss, recessions, unexpected setbacks. The poor see these as endings, while the wealthy see them as transitions. By adapting, they turn chaos into opportunity. For example, when industries collapse, adaptable minds build new ones. Adaptability requires humility, the willingness to admit you don't know everything, and curiosity to discover what comes next. It also demands resilience, the strength to bend without breaking. The 19th law is this: wealth survives change by flowing with it, not against it. Chapter 20. The Law of Stewardship. The final law brings all the others into harmony. The law of stewardship reminds us that wealth is not only a privilege, but a responsibility. Money is power, and power must be managed with wisdom. The wealthy understand they are not owners but stewards, caretakers of resources entrusted to them. Stewardship means protecting, growing, and directing money toward worthy purposes. It is not enough to acquire wealth. One must also manage it wisely. This law emphasizes accountability. Poor stewardship wastes fortunes, extravagant lifestyles, reckless investments, and careless debts destroy what could have lasted for generations. Good stewardship multiplies wealth, strengthens families, and uplifts communities. It also brings balance. Wealth is not meant to consume you, but to serve you. Money must remain a tool, never a master. Those who forget this fall into greed, fear, or emptiness. The The 20th law is this: wealth fulfills its purpose only in the hands of wise stewards. Conclusion: the law of money is not just about numbers, it is about principles that govern the flow of wealth through every human life. Each law, focus, networks, value, discipline, innovation, adaptability, and stewardship builds upon the others, forming a complete framework for financial mastery.